Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Stronger Everyday Podcast. Today we're sitting with Sara Gilbert, a woman who's gone through a significant um, career development and growth creation, and to the point where she's her own entrepreneur at this day. Without stealing too much of your spotlight here, Sarah, introduce yourself.
Well, first of all, thank you very much for having me on. It's always an honor. Yes, it's a journey of evolution, of reinvention. Yeah, evolution is probably the good word in all aspects, which I think that's kind of like the rhythm of life is there's always another level, another level, another level, and that
Mm-hmm.
applies to every part of life. So I've done the corporate and back in 2010, I was like, I'm done with corporate. I don't play well. Like I don't play well in that sandbox. And launched my own business in 2010, and even that business has reinvented itself and evolved, and there's always a next level.
Yeah. Yeah, I get that. And I totally sympathize with like I said, my background prior to getting into marketing, which I am in right now, was being an English teacher, professor, right? So I'm
Mm.
used to working in my own bubble with my own thoughts. Yes, within the government's kind of overall structure of things, but I don't think I like people very much in the corporate world anymore. So,
It's not
yeah.
much people, it's the sandbox.
Yeah, that's effectively it, right? Because people get stuck into these routines that they have to do, and there's a very strict, though unwritten kind of structure to it that
Mhm.
doesn't really suit me, so to speak. Anyway, without further ado, I had seen not only your incredible kind of growth as an entrepreneur and stuff like that, but I saw that you did fitness is something, if not outrightly demonstrated in your social posts and stuff like that, it is something that I've seen you kind of put forth as a very, very kind of helpful tool, right? And that's one of the key things I wanted to talk about with you today is not just your growth as an entrepreneur and your kind of
Mhm.
journey through it, but also how fitness has played a vital role in your life to do it, how it has helped it, if it has done, if not to give fitness too much of a toot, but like if you would have necessarily been able to get as far if you weren't taking care of your body, if you weren't taking care of your mind, if you weren't staying as healthy as you propagate that you are, you know?
And it's a very good point. So yes, fitness, um and not just, yes, we like the basics of fitness is for your body, for your health, for your energy.
Hmm.
But I love the saying, the way you do one thing is the way you do everything.
Yeah.
Is that fitness in all different kinds of sports, because I moved from sports to poor sports, there's that too also evolves, is how it influenced my mindset.
Okay.
And the key learnings that I get in that world that I can apply in every world. And I
Yeah.
think where we connected was that I shared a picture where I deadlift 220 pounds. I do
Yeah.
not weight lift. Like, I do not weight 220 pounds. I like, but,
Eh,
but that's it. It's like, if I can do that, what else can I do?
yeah.
And I'm a morning person, so I'm at the gym every morning. And it's always like, can I do one more? Can I put 5 more pounds? Can I do 2 more reps? Can I do this? Oh, I don't know how that works. How about that? And all the inner chatter that on a day to day basis, where we have less energy and less mental power, we're tired of taking those decisions. So we don't make those decisions. So we stay small. We give up on ourselves. We quit on ourselves. We do it all the time. So for me, like there's such a parallel between my fitness journey and my life and my business. Like they grow hand in hand, but it starts at 6:30 at the gym.
Yeah.
Like there's mornings I don't want to go to the gym. Like there's nobody that I know who's like every day going, yeah. Even David Goggin doesn't want to go running every day. So, if
Yeah.
he can't, I'm good.
Yeah.
But can I keep that consistency for me?
Yeah.
If I keep my consistency of going at the gym, then I'll keep my consistency in my life, in my business, in posting on social media and doing whatever.
Yeah.
If I can push myself to one more rep
Yeah.
or, like one more set or 10 more pounds, then I can push myself somewhere else.
Oh, 100%. That actually reflects with the latest blog I wrote about how um like when I'm deadlifting, I look at the weight I'm lifting and in my head I'm like, wow, I'm lift like the last time I deadlifted I was up to 350 pounds or so, and I was lifting it and I remember thinking this is so difficult. But then after I was at work later on and like later in the day and I was writing something for my boss and I was having I was like banging my head against the wall trying to figure out that I'm like, you lifted almost 500 pounds. These are words. You've been, you were a teacher. You've been writing your entire life. This isn't that difficult. So then I just kind of let everything go and just flow with it. And that resilience it teaches you is transferable
Yes.
across every kind of platform, right? Um, okay, so I want to dive into. I want to talk about you. So
Yes.
you've had a very unique journey in your overall career, right? So like effectively from financial management to coaching, from the research I've done and from what I've seen about you. How did your early experiences shape the mindset you have now as an entrepreneur? Specifically, how does it influence like the work that you do specifically for your clients today?
So how does that my journey influence where I'm at now?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's everything. Like, yes, my last corporate job, I was in the financial industry, but my dream when I was a kid was to become a kindergarten teacher.
Okay.
And I quit that because I couldn't speak in public in front of a group of 2-year-olds.
Okay.
So, like, our my second dream was to become a psychologist. And then
Okay.
I got introduced to the world of stock market, and I wanted to work on the trading floor. And one of my teachers was like, "Seriously, did you see you? Like you were way too small to be on the trading floor. It's all like 6'2", 250 pounds." And
Yeah.
because he said that to me, I'm like, "Oh well, I guess I'll do something else."
Okay.
So we have all these limiting beliefs. So when I actually started my business, I started in like as a business consultant. It was all about strategy and the doing and the mapping and the actions, and like I was the queen of Excel spreadsheets. Until at one point I realized that it's the human behind the strategy that's going to make it happen or not.
Okay.
So we get caught up in this world, in this paradigm of doing and rules and obligations, when it's for me now it's about understanding alignment
Okay.
and readjusting to alignment.
Okay, well then to continue along those lines, tell us about your business. Like what is it that you like sell yourself?
So that's an easy one.
Yeah.
So I'm a business strategist and a mindset coach. So I really help entrepreneurs find and define that strategic alignment for their business. And not just for their business, but a business that is in alignment with who they are and their rules of the game of life.
Okay.
So I have clients who, come in and their definition of success is growing the business, but I have other clients who come in and they tell me at first I want to grow my business, but when I probe and I ask and finally we dig deeper and it's no, you know what? I want maybe a more structured business so I can have more time with my wife, my kids. I've had
Okay.
clients who are like, in the end, they were happier selling the business. So it's labeled as business strategy, but it's actually what I do is self-actualization.
Oh, that's cool.
Because at the end, that's what's important
Yeah.
is defining what are your rules of life? Like what's a legacy you want to leave? What's your contribution you want to make? Perfect. Let's build a business around that. Because from that space, you can contribute better.
Yeah. Very
So
much.
our
Wow.
role is to be happy and help other people become happy, to be actualized, to help other people self-actualize.
Yeah.
But you know what? Business strategy and business coach sells better than self-actualization. So we name it the way we that's what they come in, but they
Yeah.
stay for the self-actualization.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
Uh,
I know. I know we kind of met briefly on LinkedIn to discuss, especially for this interview, but I might be walking in through those doors as a client also. Very good chance of that, actually. Um, okay, so then beyond that, like I remember when I was reading about you on, especially on your website, you mentioned that you were too creative for the corporate world, right? But also too business for the strict creative side of things, right? So
yeah.
how how did you find your way to where you are now? Like, how did you find the balance between creativity and business? Because a lot of times those two don't mix very well.
No, and that's why I did not excel in the corporate world because I couldn't find my place. And there was something in me, and forever, like since I'm a kid, like I can't fit in a box. And believe
Okay.
me, I've tried to fit in the box. And some people are better at trying to fit in the box than I am. I'm not good at trying to fit in the box. And at one point, I just said, you know what? I'll create my own box. Because I truly believe that on our deathbed, it's not, oh my gosh, I'm so happy I fit in the box.
Yeah.
It's, I'm so happy I truly lived my life.
Yeah. You got to be you.
I gotta be me. So when I
Yeah.
left corporate in 2010, I was dying inside. I knew that there was something else that couldn't be it. And everyone around me was like, but you've got a good, you got a good job. You have all the freedom in the world. You come in and out. You got a good salary. But I knew that wasn't it. So I'm
Hmm.
like, fine, I'll just go and do it my way. And I dared. I didn't have a penny in my bank account. I was going through a horrible time in my personal life. But here's how I explain it. We have a recipe for making decisions. And there's something that you tell yourself, there's a feeling inside, and there's something in your ecosystem. So if you look at every good decision in your life, there's a common element. For me, it's I'm telling myself this can't be it. I have a feeling that I'm dying inside it, and everyone around me is telling me, but you got to be good. Like this is good. Like I'm not sure why you're challenging it. That's my recipe, and I know that. So when this is going on, I know that whatever I want to do, it's going to work.
Yeah.
So I just jumped. And when you
Okay.
jump, the net does appear when it's in alignment with you.
Okay.
So I did it my way. And
Nice.
because when you do it your way, there's a way that you speak, there's a posture that you own because it's your way. There's this embodiment.
Yeah. And it's a lot harder to feel like you're the whole kind of imposter syndrome thing, right? Because you're talking about something so close to you that only you know that well, I'm guessing.
You know it. It's because it's a conviction, like it's such a belief inside versus, an intellectual thing. And just side note, like my belief on the infamous imposter syndrome is that there's a part of you that's saying there's energy left in the tank. That's the
Yeah.
imposter syndrome. Because whatever we want
Okay.
to create, it doesn't exist.
Okay.
So, like, for sure, I don't know what I'm doing because it doesn't even exist.
Yeah.
But it's a part of you that's saying, Psst, there's left in the tank. There's energy left in the tank. Let's go.
Yeah.
There's a calling.
That's really interesting.
So
So, okay, but then what was it that you did to really kind of bring the creative and the business together?
I created a business that allows both.
Okay.
So at first, when I first launched my business, since my network was a lot in the wealth management industry, I started in the wealth management industry. But then I brought in the marketing and the business strategy and the structure and the visual and the human dynamics and the human behavior, and I just build it on this because we're one human, but we have so many dimensions. So I'm like, if I'm loving the strategy and the creativity, then that's what I'm going to offer. And
Yeah,
that's why I
and
love working with entrepreneurs is because it's a mishmash of everything.
yeah, very, very true. And what I've learned over the years, especially coming from someone who's struggled in business as well because of business being too business and not creative enough, so to speak. I know exactly what you mean. I had a little stint working for Nelmar at one point where, not directly in the financial business, but dealing with security bags and stuff like that, so transportation of cash. And I just, the stiff upper lip of the financial industry didn't work well for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you see, like, and it was an industry, and that's it. It's the fact that, like in the beginning of our interview when I said people come in for the business coaching, but they
Hmm.
stay in for the self-actualization. That's me navigating those different areas of me
Okay.
because we're not just one thing. We're many things blended all together.
Yeah.
So now I bring in like the business strategy, the leadership, the self-leadership, the psycholinguistics, the patterns, that like I because we are a full-rounded human being, and that is what I'm fascinated about.
Okay.
So, the more we define what our rules of the games are, then we structure our life in alignment with our rules of the game.
Yeah. And because effectively you're dealing with people no matter what in the end, when you structure a business in a way that can people can connect with, you're going to reach to use a very business term, your ROI is going to be better, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So we've discussed like your role from like in the corporate world to entrepreneurship, but and that is a huge change actually because despite still being in business, working for yourself is its own beast, so to speak, right? So, given that transition and everything you've learned up until this point, and given that from what I've seen, you are still extremely successful and an extremely popular kind of, uh, to use a very modern day term, influencer in that regard. What's the biggest lesson you've learned throughout this transition from being in that corporate financial world to your own businesswoman?
Listening to our own intuition,
Okay.
which we pay so much more attention to the outside noise versus the inside voice. And if there's one thing I would have liked to know way earlier in life is to listen to my inside voice.
Okay.
People will tell you do this, don't do that, do it like this, do that, don't do this, that. It's none of their business. They do it because they care,
Yeah.
but our job is to filter it.
But how can you like? And this is not to question your standpoint. This is just like something that's gone through my mind a lot when I'm thinking of my own things that I want to do. Right?
Yeah.
How do you, when it comes to your intuition and your urge to do something, right? How do you trust yourself enough to say, "Yeah, it's a good idea"?
You trust.
So you just do it regardless of whether you're going to fail or succeed. It's the experience, I guess, that you gain from it.
Well, I think it as is you succeed in you or you succeed. You
How do you mean?
succeed in knowing that that's going to work, or you succeed in knowing that that's not working.
That's
You
a very good
succeed
point.
in
Yeah,
knowing that you like it, or you succeed in knowing that you don't like it.
that's very true. Okay.
So either way, I win.
Yeah, yeah,
And
that's
it's
true. Because
like,
you,
yeah, and like, so the brain doesn't like insecurity, right? Because the brain's job is just to keep us alive, which means it's in its comfort zone.
yeah,
So our job is to reframe things to say, well, I win or I win.
yeah.
So either I'm going to regret not doing something or I'm going to regret not doing something. Like, and
That's
if I,
very true.
I win either way.
Yeah.
Like I'll say, like I have to taste Mexican food to see if I like it or not.
That's very true. That's very true.
So that's kind of how I frame things for
Okay.
myself and for my clients, the same thing. But it's like if we could see life more like just experiences versus success or failure, it's just an experience.
Yeah. So it's a
It's
learning
like
opportunity no matter what.
it's a learning opportunity no matter what.
Okay.
And it's interesting because like I'm moving things around in my business right now and I'm like, yeah, but no, no, no. But I'm like, if I don't test it out, I won't know if I like that business model or not.
It's
Might
true.
as well go for it.
Yeah. Yeah. And either way, you either get something that's actually working for you or get something you don't have to try again.
That's it. Like I know that I don't like Mexican food. Thank
Yeah.
you. Move on.
Yeah.
But we ruminate things so long and we think about them and analyze it and overanalyze it and see it when actually probably in many circumstances it would take us less time actually doing it
Yeah.
than spending all this mental space, mental energy thinking about it and catastrophizing about it and what if about it. Just do it and then you'll
Yeah.
know. It's like we're
That's
so
actually very,
attached
very
to
true.
things that it doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's very, very smart. Okay. So then I know for me, fitness and entrepreneurship both require like discipline and consistency, resilience, right? And that's a lot of the mindset that can be applicable to day-to-day business life as well.
Mhm.
But how do you draw parallels between the mindset needed to succeed in business and the mindset required for a solid fitness routine, right? Because again, I keep thinking back to the images of you squatting that huge amount of weight, especially like, and I'm talking about a huge amount of weight because, and because you're not like a huge woman, right? Like I was
No,
watching
no,
you
I
lift the
weigh
weights, and
120 pounds.
well, that's it. Well, that's it. So when I saw you lifting the bar, I was like, "That's impressive. She's lifting herself." And so like I so yeah. So what are those parallels that kind of help you drive both in fitness and that you can take and kind of apply to your business strategy, your business kind of what you offer your clients, also for business guidance and yourself for business guidance to kind of lead you through to where you need to be.
Self-awareness. I'll go with self-awareness and self-leadership. Let me explain.
Okay.
CrossFit for me, I entered the CrossFit gym, zero expectation, and I'm lifting, and then I have no problem, whatever, but I'm staying at specific weights, that I know that I'm gonna lift. I'm staying in my comfort zone, right?
Yeah.
I have people around me saying, Sarah, put another plate. And I'm like, I don't think I can. I don't think I can do that. And Sarah, come on, put another plate. I'm like, they believe in me more than I believe in me.
Yeah.
So I get out of the gym and I ask myself, where do I don't believe in me?
And how can you add another plate, so to speak?
How can I add another plate? And it's exactly how I speak to myself. Let's add another plate. Do another push up. Let's go. It's another rep. So
Okay.
everything that I take in the gym, I take it there. And not like that's a CrossFit, but that's at yoga too. Like what you do
Okay.
on the mat and off the mat, you're the same human.
For all those
So
people watching who don't know weightlifting, a plate is 45 pounds. So yeah,
yeah.
it's already just under half her body weight. So that's insane.
So that's and when you take it in an area that's so out of context of self-development, like being in the gym, you're not thinking of your mindset, of like your efforts or whatever. Like you're not you learn so much more because the prefrontal cortex, where it's all about the judgment and but and the excuses and whatnot, it's not there. You're just at the gym.
Yeah.
It is the best experience to pay attention to your inner chatter, to pay attention of
Okay.
how do you quit on yourself How do you push yourself? It's because we're just at the gym. I'm just at the yoga studio. Pay attention when I'm at the yoga studio and I'm like not doing fully the pose because whatever reason I give myself on that day. The way you do it on the mat is the way you do it off the mat.
Okay.
But since it's just at the gym, you don't realize it. But that is exactly the best experience.
Okay. That actually
And
makes
self
so much
lead,
sense.
yes. And then self leadership is to be able to say, suck it up, buttercup, let's go.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
A hundred
sometimes
percent.
it is take a plate off.
How do you make that distinction though? Like especially not in the gym, it's I find it's a little bit easier because it's literally like you can almost instantaneously know the ramifications of lifting too heavy or if you're not pushing
Mhm.
yourself enough, right? How do you get that same kind of awareness though when it comes to the business world?
Well, actually, I'll go back at the gym. Because if you're putting a plate on because the person next to you said, hey, Sarah, you can put an extra plate, and you're like, and you're doing out of ego, you're
Mm-hmm.
doing out of alignment.
True.
So if the person, I'll stay in the same analogy, says, hey, Sarah, put a plate on, and I'm like, yeah, I know I'm playing small. I'll put another plate. But if somebody says, hey, Sarah, I think you can do it, put another plate on, I'm like, no.
Okay.
Is
But
this is where it comes back to self-awareness,
okay.
like listening to that inside voice. And somebody can
That's
tell me to put an extra plate or whatever, but it's my inside voice is saying no.
yeah. That's
But work
interesting.
on
'Cause
it.
well, because I know for me, like when it comes to the gym, I'm always trying to push heavier. Like I really, really do enjoy lifting heavy. Um, but when it comes to well here like for example even this interview right like I had to talk to you to bring it like and the interviews that I have lined up or that I've done already or the stuff that I'm doing for Fitness Beast like I'm always caught between um I'm just doing this for fun which I am because I enjoy it quite a bit but there's also the to turn it into a monetized business to make it flourish, to make it grow and stuff like that, right? And I'm sure a lot of other entrepreneurs, wannabes, so to speak, think the same way. Because I've also spoken to friends about this. Also, it's like, how do you mitigate that same awareness of whether you could put a plate on or whether you need to take a plate off when it comes to the workload or the amount of push or the amount of resilience it'll take when it comes to the business world of writing of whatever else you have to do depending on what your business is but how do you get that same kind of awareness because for me lifting something heavy or not heavy enough is it's a physical sensation, right? When I'm
Mhm.
working, on the other hand, I find myself sometimes getting super stressed, super overwhelmed with a lot of things, which is the equivalent of like hurting yourself from lifting too much, so to speak. But I'm never aware of that I'm going to do something like that until it's too late, right? So
Mhm.
how do you bring that resilience from your squat, so to speak, to your business world?
I want to say paying attention to your inner chatter.
Okay.
So our inner chat, the most important conversation that we have in life is the conversation with ourselves.
Okay.
Okay, but the conversation with ourselves, often there's expressions and there's things that we say to ourselves and there's stories that we say to ourselves. We've said them so many times that we don't hear them because it's kind of that elevator music that's in the background. What we want is to be able to take that from the elevator music that's in a background to awareness. Oh, what am I saying to myself right now? What's the story that I'm telling myself right now?
Okay.
And this is where we understand how we work. There's something that we've lost is in that self-awareness. Like, how do I work? What's right for me? What's not right for me? So I'm comfortable in lifting, but you know what? I never go to yoga.
Okay.
What do I tell myself when I think of yoga? Oh, yoga's like this. Okay. Okay. Well, trying something new is like going to yoga.
Okay. And I'm assuming je trouve que, as, like, by the way, if I switch it to French, I apologize. But I assume that's an aspect of your business that you do teach your clients, right? About how to be that kind of a like that kind of awareness when it comes to their business surroundings, I'm guessing, right?
Yes, so part of my business is the strategy. Part of my business is the human behavior, the mindset, the human. Okay,
Hmm.
so creativity, business, strategy, human, like I mix it all up together because in my world, it all goes together. Okay.
Hmm.
And to be able, and like the mindset is a concept, is a trendy concept nowadays, but it's just a concept. And the brain doesn't understand what a concept is. The brain understands in concrete. And in concrete for the mindset, my entry point is language.
Oh, okay.
Because when you hear somebody speak, the way they structure their sentences, the verbs that they use, the words that they use tells you exactly what's going on. Always, never. Oh, it never works. It's always a challenge. Oh, this is work. I don't know. I'll try. These is actually taking everything that's in the invisible world to the visible world, the tangible world.
Okay.
So by just paying attention of how somebody speaks, we're able to see what's going on inside.
Okay.
Oh, I've tried this in the past, or I'll try it. How many times have we said, I'll try this? But on a brain perspective, trying means failure. Nobody wants
That's
to
true.
fail. We all know somebody who tried to go to the gym on January 2nd.
Yeah.
So when I catch myself in my inner chatter or when I'm speaking, I know what's going on inside. I know the fears. I know the patterns. And that's what I want to bring more awareness to.
Okay.
We were talking about failures before, and I'm saying, well, it's just an experience. It's just one word shift, but that is it's two worlds apart.
That's true. You go from failure to experience a failure. Because like yeah, because even when I think about the word failure, it's like a dead stop, right? It's like an end thing.
Yeah.
But when you think of it just experience, it's like you're the follow up thought. Like your thoughts don't stop. You think of it as experience. Okay, so that experience showed me that wasn't the best. Let's try something else, right? Like that's it. That's for me anyway. That's like the automatic shift. It's like okay, let's try something else this time. You know?
So, how much more self actualization can we do when we think about whatever idea that we have as an experience versus success or failure?
That's true.
So shifting words, shifting verbs, like paying attention to that shifts everything inside because the way when I see switch the way that I think, I will switch the way that I act
Okay.
automatically. Because like, there, put on another plate. Why not put on? Let's do it.
Yeah.
Versus, I don't know. Words are not just letters put together. It's crystallizing emotions. And the only thing as humans that we do is we're seeking emotions.
Huh.
So we're always on this emotional quest of going for an emotion. Now, some people, the emotion that they're going for is freedom, self actualization, but some people's emotion is safety.
That's true. Yeah.
So I'll try is unconsciously, I'm seeking safety.
Okay.
I'm not going to do it. I'm just telling
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. Saying I'll try versus I'm going to do it is, yeah.
Or I'm doing.
Yeah.
So words tells us so much on somebody's courage, somebody's resilience, somebody's dedication. And the beauty is we can all learn different words. We can all
Yeah.
shift the words.
I absolutely love that you say that because I remember, like, I'm actually, like, as you were saying that, like, I'm remembering when I was like 300 pounds. I'm remembering when I was first diagnosed with MS, for example. I remember the first words that came out of my mouth when I was talking to my mom about it because she was freaking out more than I was about it. Um, I said, "I'm going to beat this." And with the weight loss, it was like, I'm going to lose the weight. You know, like it wasn't I'm going to try. It was I'm just going to do it. And I can say unequivocally for both the MS and the weight loss that I've succeeded versus a lot of the stuff I've tried before where I said, yeah, I'm going to try to do it. I don't think I've succeeded in anything I've wanted to try at doing.
And you can't because it's a protection mechanism.
Yeah.
And we all want to be liked, so we say try versus instead of no. We don't own it.
Yeah.
But the brain's very smart to keep us in its comfort zone. But it's not
Okay.
there to help us self-actualize.
That's true. That's very true. Okay, well, I know you're busy, so I'm going to try to get through these questions very
Yes,
quickly.
sorry.
No worries at all. It's been a great conversation, and it's actually made me think quite a bit more. So you've
Welcome to my
developed,
world.
yeah, I can imagine. I can imagine. So you've developed a unique business model that kind of intersects business processes, mindset, and behavioral patterns, right? As we've been
Yeah.
discussing. So can you share an example of how maintaining a healthy lifestyle has helped you better manage those intersections in your entrepreneurial journey, like into your where how you've gotten to where you are.
Well, there's a lot of things that are non-negotiables, and I think we all need to make things that are non-negotiable in our life.
Okay.
So I have no meetings before 10 a.m. I have no
Okay.
meetings that finished after 4 p.m. I have no client meetings on Monday. I have no client meetings on Fridays, and I have no client meetings on Wednesdays afternoon because that was the time I used to rock climb.
Okay. Cool.
And it's just non-negotiable.
So you're still
So if
rock
I can
climbing?
make that non-negotiable, I can also make my daily gym routine non-negotiable.
That's true. That's true. Um.
We just need
Okay.
to stop negotiating with ourselves. In which areas of our life? What do I want? What do I need to do? Clarity, focus, action. That's kind of the framework that I use for everything. Do I know what I want? What are my biggest needle movers? And what intentional action do I need to make?
Yeah.
That's it.
Okay. So then, um, like when it comes to like you're known for providing strategic advice, right? Which you have done like
Yep.
the entire interview. Um, especially when it comes to business practices and processes and marketing. So, what's one piece of advice you'd give to an entrepreneur or entrepreneurs who are just starting out and want to balance both business growth with maintaining a fulfilling personal life?
Clarity, focus, action.
Okay.
Clarity is what are my rules? What are the rules of the game called life? Mine was no meeting before 10, no meetings after 4, no meetings on Fridays, no meetings on Mondays. Those are my rules. My rules are also I do not have 10 meetings a day. I have 2, maybe 3 meetings a day. That means I need to develop a business model in alignment with that. So clarity of the rules of the game, clarity of the type of business that I want to create, type of clients I want to serve. Like we're busy being busy because we don't have clarity. So what do I want in my life? What do I want in my business? What's the difference I want to make? What are the needle movers? And what's my action plan?
Okay.
Clarity, focus, action.
Okay, that works. And so, looking ahead, then, what are some of the biggest changes or opportunities you see in the coaching and entrepreneurial space? Like you've discussed the different ways people need to think to achieve their goals and stuff like that. And so, what do you see is going to come for people within that space? And how do you plan to evolve your own business to meet these trends?
So I'm focusing more and more on speaking, doing speaking versus coaching. I'll always have a handful of coaching, just because I love human interactions.
Hmm.
But I'm getting to a place where my focus is more on impact. So I'm going more into speaking versus individual coaching. How do I think that you know what? There's an interesting trend that I did not like that I'm starting to like was it's the micro trend
Okay.
of short videos, 1 to 3 videos. I was like, ah, because we're seeing now like shorts that are 1 to 3 minutes and podcasts that are like 3 hours. And I was really like not sure of this. And the more and more I'm liking the micro learning
Hmm.
because micro learning brings micro actions and it's micro actions that have biggest leverage
Because there's still actions, yeah.
because it's bite size. We all think of the big thing. It's like think big, act small, but act every day. So I'm
Yeah.
liking, and we're seeing more and more of um, like bite size information that is practical. So I'm a practical person. I'm not a motivational speaker. I activate something that's already in you. So that's one huge trend that we're seeing. There's a trend where I'm positioning myself is more practicality than concepts. I don't know about you, but I've had enough of different concepts and different information. Like people don't need more information, they need practicality.
Yeah.
Like how do I do it? So in French, I say je pars du granulaire au spectaculaire. So I go from like with my clients, I go from like the micro to the full macro. But
Yeah.
I go to their 20-year vision, but we know exactly what are you going to do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Because the brain understands in concrete, not in concepts.
Yeah.
So we've spent the last decade or so bringing motivation, bringing information, bringing concepts, and now we're seeing a shift where it's how do I apply it? What's the integration? Because ideas are nice, but execution is better.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Um, so one of the biggest aspects that especially when I've listened to your like you speak, it's like even hearing you now, right? Like it, I know, and on your website, like you have mentors like Tony Roberts and Haley Wickenshire. I'm not even sure if I'm pronouncing that
Yeah.
properly, um, but like, how have their teachings shaped your approach to leadership and business?
Having a mentor, let it be a coach, a mentor, doesn't really matter the format, is somebody that helps you get out of your own way.
Okay.
Because we are I will use the word stuck in our patterns, in our fears, in different beliefs, in the external noise. A coach, a mentor helps you realign. This is where we're going. This is where we're going. So alignment is not a one time thing. Is we're consistently realigning, 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 realigning. So a coach and a mentor brings you back into alignment when you lose yourself.
Okay.
And today I have clients that we've been working together for years. And our calls is not about bringing a new strategy, is reminding them of who they are, where they're going.
Okay. That's brilliant, actually. So I mean, it's clear and obvious in the way you talk and your the level of expertise in what you have, right? Like you are definitely passionate about helping others make a difference in not only their clients' lives, but in how you make a difference in your clients' lives, you know? Can you share a story or an example where you saw someone experience a breakthrough both personally and professionally after working with you? I know you've shared your own breakthrough, but someone you've worked with that you've seen that what makes you talk about this so passionately because you've seen it work.
There's just so many, like, and not in a bragging way, but there's so many different stories. Where I had a client who still have a client, he's still a client, but decided to close their business because they were like, what? After listen, going back to my own voice, that's not what I want, not that way, anyways. I have a client once where we get on a Zoom call together and he shows me this video of like a tractor digging a hole or whatever. And I'm like, awesome. And he's like a 5-year old. And I'm like, I see you're excited. It's a tractor. What am I looking at? He goes, that's one of my top clients building what they thought was not possible, like their dream home where they thought that they wouldn't be. Goes, now I understand that my role is to help my clients reach their dreams. I'm like, that's the purpose of life. So, and it's
Love
really
that.
interesting how we're more, as soon as we're more in alignment, instead of zigzagging, we go in a straight line.
Yeah.
And it's not a quest for success, it's a quest for self-actualization, fulfillment, accomplishment.
Okay.
And when we lock in on that, got clients who are like, my 10-year goals, I've done them in 8 months. I'm like, sure, because you stopped zigzagging.
Yeah.
The clarity.
I will agree with you 100%. I know, like, for me, especially when it comes to integration of fitness and business in general, um, if I don't lift at the gym, if I'm not going to the gym, if I'm not pushing myself on that physical level, I
Mhm.
find it so much difficult, like so much more difficult to get in the mindset of I need to do work, I need to sit through this, I
Yeah.
can do this, you know. But no, that honestly, an amazing discussion. Now we only got a few minutes left because I know you have to head off soon. Also, um, sell yourself one more time for our audience.
You know what? I'm for those who are not, or who don't settle for the status quo.
Okay.
That's it. Like, it's our life. And my goal for me is that on my deathbed, I
Hmm.
tell myself, I gave it everything I've got. There's nothing left in the tank.
Yeah.
And I want more people to be able to say that to themselves. That's it.
Okay. No, that's absolutely brilliant. Okay, so for everyone who's watching us, thank you so much. That was Sara Gilbert. All her information is gonna be linked down in the description below. Website, what she does. I'll discuss with her a little bit more detail of what she wants there, and so be sure to click on her link. Follow everything she does. She's an absolute brilliant entrepreneur and coach from what I've seen, and yeah, it's Stronger Everyday Podcast by Fitness Beast Athletics. Hopefully, to be following in Sarah's own footsteps to follow in my dream of what I want to do. And so I'll see you next time. And thanks everyone for paying attention. Cheers.
Thank you.
Thanks.